Hey y'all, so I am sitting here on my front porch and I just got finished with the first run that I've done in about a month. And I decided to take yet another giant step outside my comfort zone and do a video of myself while I'm still sitting here all hot and sweaty, because I wanted to talk a little bit about how I became a runner. So I've always wanted to run. I have had dreams about just running and running without ever running out of breath since I was a little kid every once in a while. And I was one of those kids in elementary school who ended up walking after like the first 300 yards of the mile for that presidential physical fitness challenge that I'm not sure even exists anymore. I'm pretty sure it probably doesn't. Ooh, that is a noisy vehicle of some kind. It's like one of those mini pickup trucks that you use for landscaping. Anyway, so I always wanted to run, never could run, always would get out of breath really fast, found it very frustrating, would tell people that I hated running, but all at the same time I always wanted to. It just seemed like fun. It seemed like it would be very freeing. It seemed like it would be something that would make me feel really strong. And now that I am kind of a runner, I can tell you that all those things are absolutely true. But the reason that I became a runner is one that I don't think that maybe you've heard an awful lot about, because it's not like this super inspirational, amazing thing exactly. I mean, to some extent it is, because I did, recover from a chronic pain condition and some neurological deficits that I had to sort of rehab on my own. But I actually became a runner kind of a couple of years after all of that was more or less over, and I hadn't really had any chronic pain for a while, which is definitely a big advantage when you're trying to start a physical fitness program, especially one that's cardiovascularly intense. But really the reason that I became a runner finally, and will now, I think, at least as long as I'm able to, go back to running consistently when the conditions are right, even if I go a month like I did this time without going on a run. It probably has. It's been at least a month since the last time I went running, and a lot of that is just because I've been really busy working on Mask Drive stuff and trying to juggle my business at the same time, as we were doing a pretty big rebuild of how all the distribution stuff works at Mask Drive. So it was just kind of absorbing for a while. But honestly, most of it has just been because there's been so much change and upheaval this year with coronavirus that it's been hard for me to stay motivated. And I've recently realized that I've been kind of depressed about it. But today I finally ran again. And the reason that I ran today is the same reason that I started running in the first place. And it's such a mundane reason that I wanted to share it with you. It's because the weather is beautiful. It is I don't know, I would guess it's probably about 65 right now. And the sun's shining and the birds are singing. And I've got a couple of hummingbird feeders over here next to me. And the hummingbirds have come up and buzzed me a couple times. And it's just gorgeous. You want to be outside. And because of coronavirus, of course, all of us are kind of dying to be outside. And it's been so stiflingly hot for weeks and weeks, and really, really rainy for several days. But now the weather is perfect. It's beautiful. And I looked at the forecast, and it looks like our overnight lows are going to be in the 50s and 60s and for the next 2 or 3 weeks running. And that probably means that I am going to spend the next 2 or 3 weeks running, because when the weather is like this, I want to be outside, and that is the only time that I want to run. Really want to. Sometimes I kind of feel like running. I know I need some exercise, stuff like that, and that does get me out the door once in a while. But what really gets me out the door is when the weather is just so stunningly beautiful. I don't want to do anything except go outside and be in it and run and feel that cool breeze on my face. That's what gets me out the door. That's what gets me running. And last summer, we ended up having just this string of beautiful mornings, very similar to this, that were not spoiled by rain or humidity or mosquitoes or anything like that, for several weeks on end. And I finally did enough runs in a row to understand why people run. And, you know, I am and have been one of those folks who will listen to people who run talk about how they run. My husband is a much more avid runner than I am. He runs, lately he's been running every single day, but he always runs at least 3 or 4 times a week, 3 or 4 miles at a time. And I have never been that guy. I have always been like, why in the hell would you want to run? I only run if I am on fire, etc., etc. But when I'm being honest with myself, I know that a big part of the reason that I get annoyed with people like that is because I am jealous. I will admit it. I wish that I wanted to run all the time. I know that it's good for me. I know that my body is made to run. And, you know, not everybody is going to end up deciding that they love running. Some folks may decide that they like walking or gardening or, you know, any number of other things that you can do. But right now, there is a huge opportunity for all of us to create some good habits in this crappy year, because this weather would inspire virtually any human being. This is the kind of weather that human beings were sort of made to love, at least those of us that have this sensitive, easily burned skin and sensitive light-colored eyes like I do. But most people love this 70-degree weather. You know you love it. Get out there and do stuff. Doesn't matter what it is. I want you to think of activity, not exercise, when you are working towards your personal wellness goals. And I hope that this will give somebody a little bit of inspiration to just get out there and do whatever it is that this kind of weather inspires them to do, because you've got to seize those moments. You know, there are only so many moments that you really feel motivated to do things and to make changes. And I feel like coronavirus is causing all of us to sort of take a closer look at a lot of things. So if you haven't already, if you've been struggling with all this coronavirus like I have to some extent, maybe take some time for yourself today to get out there, take a stroll in this beautiful sunshine, and figure out what is going to make you feel good, because that is ultimately what is going to lead to wellness.